Have you ever noticed an itch on an elderly loved one's body? Maybe something they've been scratching for days or weeks, but thought nothing of it. Maybe it seemed harmless. Maybe you even laughed it off or gave them some lotion and moved on. But what if I told you that seemingly innocent itch could be a silent alarm, a signal your body is desperately trying to send you? And even more shocking, it may be indicating something far more dangerous than dry skin or age-related irritation, something that could potentially be life-threatening. In today's video, we're diving deep into something most people ignore until it's too late. How one specific itchy area on the body of elderly people could be a 99% indicator of cancer. Yes, 99%. That's not fear-mongering, that's the cold truth based on mounting medical observations and wisdom rooted in real-life stories. And the most terrifying part? It usually starts small. So small that it's easy to miss, until the storm breaks loose. This is not a video to skip. You need to hear this, especially if you're caring for your parents, grandparents, or you're concerned about your own health as you grow older. One simple sign could be the difference between early intervention and a devastating diagnosis. So, stay with us till the very end, because the last section is the most important one. It could literally save someone's life. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Faith Wisdom, where we bring you the most powerful and life-transforming insights rooted in truth, logic, and the wisdom of experience. Join our growing community and become someone who sees what others miss. Now, let's get into the heart of today's video. Number 1, the dangerous myth of "it's just dry skin." We've all heard it. Oh, it's just dry skin, nothing to worry about. Especially among the elderly, dry skin is as common as gray hair or aching joints. But here's what most people never realize. Chronic itching in a specific area, especially when it doesn't go away with moisturizers or treatment, can be your body's subtle scream for help. For years, medical researchers have studied patterns of seemingly benign skin conditions and how they often hide deeper issues. In the elderly, persistent itchiness, particularly on the upper back, scalp, or lower legs, may not be as harmless as it appears. In fact, studies have shown that some forms of skin cancer begin with nothing but an itch. No rash, no lesion, no visible spot. Just an itch that won't stop. When people hear skin cancer, they often think of moles or strange discolorations. But in many elderly cases, it starts with an itch, sometimes months before any visible changes appear. And here's the kicker. Many elderly individuals don't speak up. They don't want to worry anyone. They assume it's just age or dryness. They use ointments or oils. But when the itch persists or gets worse, it's often too late. The cancer has already progressed. So the next time your loved one says, "I've had this annoying itch that won't go away," don't ignore it. Investigate it. Ask questions. Is it constant? Is it getting worse? Has the skin changed in that area? Their discomfort could be a whisper of a much bigger problem. Number 2. The scary truth. Behind pruritus and internal cancer. You might think cancer is always visible, a lump, a mole, a tumor, something that stands out. But did you know that many internal cancers, including lymphoma, liver, and gallbladder cancer, can start with nothing but an itch? This condition is medically known as perineoplastic pruritus, and it's often one of the first symptoms of something far more sinister brewing beneath the surface. In many elderly patients, especially those over the age of 60, persistent itching, especially without a rash, can be a major red flag. When doctors look back at cancer diagnoses, they often find that patients had reported itching weeks or even months before they were diagnosed. It's the body's way of reacting to changes happening inside. The immune system is under attack, and the nerves on the skin begin to respond, even though nothing is yet visible. The most dangerous part? Most people don't connect the dots. They see a dermatologist, get some anti-itch cream, maybe even take antihistamines and move on. But the itch comes back. It haunts them, it spreads, it grows. And by the time they see an oncologist, the cancer is no longer in its early stage. One of the most common sites for this warning itch is the middle back and shoulder blades. A persistent itch in these regions, especially in elderly individuals, should never be dismissed, particularly if there's no obvious cause like eczema or dermatitis. So what's the takeaway? Don't let silence be the killer. If someone you love keeps scratching the same spot day after day, it's time to look deeper. Ask for blood tests, push for scans, demand answers, because by the time you feel a lump, it might be too late. Number 3, how our body sends silent alarms. The human body is a magnificent machine, but it doesn't scream when something goes wrong. It whispers, and one of those whispers is itchiness. Itching is often the result of chemical messengers released in the body due to internal inflammation or immune system disruptions. When cancer begins to grow, particularly in the lymphatic system, liver, pancreas, or bile ducts, it releases substances that irritate the nerves in the skin, even if the skin looks totally normal. What makes this even more complex is that the itch isn't always in the same place as the cancer. For instance, someone with pancreatic cancer might feel persistent itching on the legs or back. A person with lymphoma might feel it in the arms or chest, and often the skin will appear totally normal at first glance. And here's something that will shock you. This kind of itch doesn't respond to normal treatments. Creams don't help. Lotions don't soothe it. Even scratching it only offers temporary relief, because the source of the itch is inside the body, not on the surface. So the next time your elderly parent or grandparent says, "It just itches and nothing helps," don't let it slide. That's not just discomfort, that's not just aging. That could be the beginning of a much darker journey, unless you intervene early. We must learn to respect the language of the body, especially in our elders. They may not have the energy to push for answers, but you can be their voice. You can be their protector. And let's be honest, how many lives could be saved if we simply took that persistent itch seriously? Number 4, the hidden pattern of misdiagnosis in the elderly. Here's a terrifying truth. Thousands of elderly individuals are misdiagnosed every year when it comes to chronic itching. And not because doctors are careless, but because itching is rarely taken seriously as a potential cancer symptom. It's often blamed on dry air, poor circulation, or even laundry detergent. In fact, elderly patients are frequently dismissed with generic creams or antihistamines and told to come back later. But by the time they come back, the disease has spread. The problem isn't just in the diagnosis. It's in our entire perception of aging. We assume pain, discomfort, and skin changes are just part of getting old. But that assumption is costing lives. Your body doesn't itch for no reason. It always has a reason. Doctors have begun recognizing this pattern, especially in cases where persistent itching appears before any other sign of illness. In one study, over 30% of lymphoma patients reported unexplained itching as their first symptom. And yet, many were treated for allergies or skin conditions for months before anyone considered something more serious. Another complication? Elderly people often don't report symptoms clearly. They may not want to be a burden. They may not understand that the itch is a big deal. They might say, "It's nothing," when it's actually everything. That's why you must be the one to notice the pattern. You must connect the dots. When you see an elderly loved one scratching the same spot over and over, don't ignore it. Document it, ask questions, bring it up at doctor appointments, push for imaging. push for deeper tests. Because while it may just be dry skin, there's a 1 in 3 chance it's something far worse. Number 5. The most common itchy areas linked to cancer in the elderly. Now, let's talk specifics. If a persistent itch can be a silent alarm, then where it shows up matters more than you might think. Over years of observation and case study reviews, experts have identified certain areas on the body where persistent itching, especially in elderly individuals, has a significantly higher association with hidden cancers. Understanding these high-risk zones could literally help you detect cancer months before any diagnostic scan does. Let's start with the upper back, particularly between the shoulder blades. This area is rich in lymphatic activity and nerve endings. Many patients who were later diagnosed with lymphoma or liver cancer reported months of itching in this region, often without any rash or visible skin damage. Some said it itched so badly they scratched until they bled, but doctors dismissed it as dry skin. Next, the scalp and neck. These regions are often associated with skin cancers like basal cell carcinoma or squamous cell carcinoma. The danger? Elderly people often have limited mobility or reduced sensation in these areas, meaning the itch is either ignored or unnoticed until it becomes unbearable. In many cases, small cancerous lesions on the scalp can hide under thinning hair and only present as persistent itchiness or a bump that doesn't heal. The lower legs, especially the shins, are another red flag zone. Persistent itching here, particularly if it's symmetrical or accompanied by dryness or cracking, has been linked to systemic cancers like renal cancer or lymphoma. These cancers alter the immune system and circulation in ways that result in itching far from the actual tumor site. One more, the torso and chest. An itch that keeps recurring in these areas, especially under the breasts or around the rib cage, can be tied to underlying breast cancer or gastrointestinal cancers, which cause systemic inflammation and nerve irritation. Now, let's be clear, not every itch is cancer, but when it's persistent, unresponsive to treatment, and located in these critical zones, you must treat it like a flashing red light. This is especially true for the elderly, whose bodies are less capable of fighting off cancer and whose symptoms are often atypical. Remember, your vigilance could save a life. Watch the body, listen to it, respect its signals. Number 6. Real stories they never tell you on the news. Let me share something powerful and terrifying. These are real stories from families who ignored the signs and those who didn't. Story 1. A 72-year-old man in Texas had a persistent itch on his back for 6 months. He applied every lotion, every cream. His dermatologist told him it was nothing but aging skin. He even started to believe it himself. But the itch grew. One day, he noticed a small bump. A biopsy revealed it was a rare form of skin lymphoma. By the time they caught it, it had spread to his lungs. He died within the year. The family said, "We wish we had pushed for a second opinion." Story 2. A woman in her 80s from Ohio had been scratching her scalp constantly. Her children joked about it, even bought her a special brush. It wasn't until she started losing hair in patches that they saw a doctor, who found not a skin infection but an aggressive melanoma. She began treatment immediately and survived. Today, she's cancer-free, because her family finally listened to her body's signals. Story 3. A man's wife noticed he kept scratching his leg, just one leg, for over 2 months. He said it was nothing. Then one night, he woke up bleeding. That was the moment they went to a specialist. Blood tests revealed advanced kidney cancer, and yes, his only symptom before that was a persistent itch on his right shin. Why am I telling you these stories? Because behind every statistic is a human life. A family, a tragedy, or a miracle. Every single one of those lives could have changed course sooner if someone had taken an itch seriously. That's the core message of today's video. Your body doesn't make noise for no reason. Your elderly loved one isn't complaining just for attention. Sometimes that itch is the only warning you'll get. And here's the truth the media doesn't tell you. Early cancer is often curable. The problem is, early symptoms don't look like cancer. They look like harmless things. Like an itch, like fatigue, like a skin change. But you're now among the rare few who know the truth. And now it's time for the final section. And it's the one you absolutely cannot miss. Number 7. The itch that saves why you must act immediately. This is it, the most important part of this video, the part that can save a life, the part you need to remember and share with everyone you love. Let me ask you this. What if the only thing standing between your parent and a terminal diagnosis is you noticing that itch? What if one visit to the doctor, just one deeper scan, could catch a tumor early, before it spreads, before it steals years off their life? There is one particular type of cancer that's almost always signaled by itching first, and it's often missed. Hodgkin's lymphoma. In over 30% of elderly patients, the very first sign is a constant itch, usually on the back, arms, or legs. No lump, no fatigue, just the itch. And if caught early, Hodgkin's has one of the highest survival rates among cancers. But if caught late, it spreads fast. The key difference between life and death. Someone noticed the itch. Someone took it seriously. Someone made the call. That someone can be you. So here's what I want you to do right now. 1. Think of every elderly person you know, your parents, your grandparents, even your neighbors. 2. Ask them, do you have an itch that won't go away? 3. Don't take "it's just dry skin" for an answer. Ask more questions. Look at the area. Push for a checkup. Because sometimes the most dangerous signs are the quietest ones. Your awareness could give someone you love 5 more years, 10 more birthdays, 100 more smiles. And if you've felt this itch yourself, especially in the areas we mentioned, and nothing has helped, do not delay. Talk to your doctor. Push for tests. Your life is too precious to ignore a whisper from your body. Let me leave you with this final truth. It's not the cancer that kills most people. It's ignorance. It's delay. It's thinking. It's probably nothing. Don't let that be your story, or your family's story. If you found this video eye-opening, if your heart is pounding right now and your mind is racing with thoughts about someone you love, then please subscribe to our channel, Faith Wisdom. We are on a mission to bring truth, awareness, and deep wisdom to the world. We believe that the right knowledge at the right time can change the course of your life forever. And remember, stay curious, stay aware, and never ignore your body's whispers. They're the first line of defense. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Stay wise. Subscribe to Faith Wisdom, and we'll see you in the next video.